Did want to let you know about Bruce Garrity. He decided he wanted to spend the fall helping others, and he wasn't really sure where he was going to end up. So what he does is he puts out the word, and then he waits. And eventually, he did get a call from Kenya, an area well known to Islanders through groups like the Mikinduri Children of Hope. And now he's about 2 weeks into a 10-week stay in an orphanage in that country. I gave him a call last week. Where are you speaking to us from?
I am calling you from a St. Francis Boys orphanage in central Kenya.
How big is that orphanage?
Well, there's 300 boys and there's 300 girls. So there's a little better than 600 kids here. And they go from grade 1 to grade 11.
How did you come to be there, Bruce?
Well, I contacted Ted Grant at Mikinduri Children of Hope, and I think everybody knows Ted. He was an enormous help, and I said, Ted, I want to go to Africa and volunteer someplace. And he put me in touch with a gentleman in the States who put me in touch with a priest who runs this orphanage. And I emailed him. He called me the next day, which is about mid-September, and he said, we'd love to have you. I said, good. He said, can you come tomorrow? I said, well, not that quick. I have to get my shots, and I have to do a lot of things. So 10 days later, I was on an airplane on the 22nd of September for Kenya.
So tell me what you found when you arrived.
The girls' part of the orphanage is better sponsored than the boys. It's different sponsor groups. It's a long story, but the girls eat better, are better dressed. They're not in gowns, but they're better dressed. The boys, there's a lot of rags here. The kids wear a lot of rags, and food's been a little scarce lately. There was a budget problem, but they're getting enough food to eat, and the teachers really care. So it's a good answer to a tough problem.
I understand you've been reaching into your own pocket to help make sure these kids are fed.
It doesn't cost a lot. Like $100 will give the kids bread for almost 3 days, 2.5 days. And by the way, that's a little loaf of bread. I can't even picture it, like 2 inches wide, like a mini loaf, like a small loaf of bread. They have that with porridge in the morning, and they don't get a lot to eat, but they're not starving. They're very thin. But some of these kids, the boys, were off the streets of the big cities, and they were, stealing for food, and they were sniffing glue, and they're a lot better off here, even at the low rations for food. But yeah, I've been helping out, and some people have been very good to me. They donated money to me for this, and we bought some mattresses, and the really dire need of mattresses and plastic covers. And by the way, Mitch, the boys have nothing. And when I describe this, I really mean nothing. There's no toys. They go play in puddles. They're typical boys, and there's a lot of happiness in a strange way. But I dare not tell them how many toys we have in our toy boxes at home for 1 or 2 kids. We have a lot in Canada. We have a lot to be thankful for.
What have you been teaching?
I've been teaching English to grades 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 grade 7, so it's 5, 6 classes a day, conversational English and Canadian geography and history.
What advantage do these students get by learning English?
Well, that's a good question. Their English is pretty good to start with. They started in school. English is the first language of Kenya, believe it or not, because the British had this until 49 years ago. And Swahili is sort of tied with the second language, and there are dozens and dozens of other tribal languages that only tribes understand. So English is very important here because it's the language of government. Of course, pilots use it, and doctors and teachers. And we just practice a lot of words as we talk, and I get them to talk as much as they can, but I've got 130 kids, and you can't talk to them individually. You have to do it in groups. But they're coming along really well, and I'm only here for 10 weeks, so I'm not going to change the world, but I'm enjoying this, and I think they're enjoying me.
What do you think you'll take away from this experience, Bruce?
I've had so many people talk to me about funding a school for AIDS, children with AIDS down the road. There's 92 kids in this facility. They all have AIDS, and from ages 1 to 16. They need money. This school needs money. There are teachers who want to start other schools for orphans. It just goes on and on. Like Ted Grant is running Mikinduri organization. They need money. My only issue is I don't know where to give my money and the money that's been donated to me because there's so many causes. There's so many good ones. And I got to learn how to prioritize and take care of a few things we can do. I think it just means that I understand Africa a little bit better, and I think that's good for me, and maybe I can do some fundraising to help these kids get more bread and get some more clothing.
Thanks very much for joining us, Bruce. Enjoy the rest of your time there.
I'll be home in December. Have a great day, and thanks for talking to me.
Charlottetown's Bruce Garrity is volunteering at an orphanage in Africa. Of course, Bruce, very well known in the city of Charlottetown, a former Charlottetown city councilor. We're talking about municipal elections more in our next hour here on 96.1 FM.